You drop to your knees in the dark, desperate, begging God to silence a fire that feels like it's consuming your soul from the inside out. But the ceiling stays silent. What if his refusal to extinguish that flame isn't abandonment, but the ultimate act of mercy? You aren't broken because you feel this fight, you're being forged. By the time you finish listening, the shame that has kept you trapped in the shadows will completely lose its power over you. Why do we assume God is furious with our weakness when the scriptures reveal something entirely different? In this moment of intense isolation, you are closer to breakthrough than you realize. If you're tired of asking God to remove your temptation only to wake up feeling defeated, you're looking at this fight all wrong. God isn't ignoring you, He's building your strength. To break this cycle today, check out my ebook, 7 Biblical Secrets to Destroy Lust Before It Destroys You. Link in the description. Grab it now and take control. Most believers fall into a quiet, exhausting cycle. They sin, feel consumed by regret, and pray desperately for God to magically erase their sexual desires overnight. But when the next day brings the exact same urge, a dangerous belief takes root. Either God is ignoring them, or they are simply beyond saving. This is the subtle trap of demanding instant deliverance. We treat God like a spiritual fast food joint, demanding immediate relief from discomfort while completely ignoring the transformation required to actually handle freedom. Scripture never promises an effortless, instantaneous removal of our physical human drives. In Romans 12, Paul instructs us to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, describing a deliberate, ongoing process rather than a single lightning bolt moment. If God simply flipped a switch to delete your capacity for temptation, He would be stripping away your free will and depriving you of spiritual maturity. Real freedom isn't the absence of a struggle. It's learning how to exercise self-control in the middle of one. When you demand that God instantly kill your desires, you are asking Him to treat a symptom while leaving the root cause untouched. True victory over temptation requires walking through the refining fire where patience, discipline, and absolute dependence on Him are built. God is far more interested in building your spiritual muscle than giving you an easy exit that leaves you vulnerable to the next temptation down the road. He hasn't left you to fight alone. His refusal to grant an instant escape is not an act of rejection, but an invitation to draw closer to His presence daily. Realize that every time you stand firm against the surge of temptation, His grace is actively forming an unshakable strength within your character that will carry you into lasting, genuine freedom. There is a deadly confusion silently destroying believers. The belief that merely feeling a surge of temptation means you have already fallen. The moment an unwanted image or intense physical urge flashes across your mind, a wave of immediate guilt hits your chest, whispering that you are already unclean. Because you believe you have already failed, you give up the fight, surrender to the temptation, and plunge into the exact act you desperately wanted to avoid. This toxic chain reaction is the guilt loop, and it thrives entirely on a dangerous lie. The scriptures draw a sharp, undeniable line between being tempted and actually committing sin. In Hebrews 4, we are told that Jesus Himself was tempted in every single way that we are, yet remained completely without sin. Read that carefully. The Son of God felt the pull, faced the pressure, and experienced the raw weight of human temptation, yet He was entirely pure. Temptation is not a sign of a ruined soul. It is simply the environmental reality of living in a broken world. The initial spark or thought entering your mind is an attack from the enemy. The sin only begins when you choose to pull up a chair, entertain that thought, and feed it. When you treat the arrival of temptation as an inevitable defeat, you hand over your power to the enemy before the battle even begins. Stop condemning yourself for the knock at the door. You cannot prevent birds from flying over your head, but you can certainly stop them from building a nest in your hair. Understand this clearly. Facing temptation does not separate you from the Father. The moment an urge strikes is not a signal that God has turned His back in disgust, but an immediate invitation to run directly into His presence for strength. You are not defined by the thoughts that test you, but by the grace that empowers you to stand firm and overcome them. If you're ready to break this cycle for good, grab my ebook, 7 Biblical Secrets to Destroy Lust. Click the link in the description or pinned comment right now to unlock these proven spiritual strategies and step into true freedom today. Why does God allow an agonizing battle to rage on, even when you are begging Him on your knees for deliverance? It feels almost cruel to carry a persistent weakness that threatens to pull you under every single day. Yet, this ongoing friction isn't proof of God's absence. It is often the very arena where His most powerful work takes place. Comfort rarely builds character, and an easy victory never produces deep faith. In 2 Corinthians, the Apostle Paul describes begging the Lord 3 separate times to remove an agonizing thorn in the flesh that tormented him. Instead of granting instant relief, God answered with a profound truth. "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Paul wasn't dealing with a lack of faith, nor was God punishing him. God left the thorn because complete self-sufficiency is a spiritual death trap. If you could defeat this temptation entirely on your own strength, you would inevitably grow proud, self-righteous, and completely independent of God. The battle you are fighting right now is exposing the limits of your own willpower. You cannot white-knuckle your way into purity, and every failed attempt to rely on your own strength is designed to bring you to the end of yourself. God allows the struggle because it forces you to stop relying on human resolve and start clinging desperately to divine grace every single hour. This ongoing fight is not a sign that you are failing at Christianity. It is the exact place where authentic spiritual muscle is forged. Every time you turn to Him in your darkest moment of weakness, His power fills the gap. His grace isn't just a safety net for when you fall. It is the active, invincible strength that empowers you to stand firm in the middle of the fire. What if the very energy driving your deepest struggle isn't inherently evil, but simply running in the wrong direction? Most believers waste years trying to completely extinguish their sexual drive, treating it like a biological curse that must be annihilated. But trying to deaden an engine that God built only leads to frustration and spiritual burnout. The goal of the Christian life is never self-mutilation or total emotional numbness. It is alignment. When God created humanity in Genesis, He designed intimacy, passion, and deep connection and called them good. Sexual drive at its core is a powerful God-given engine meant to push you toward sacrificial love, covenant commitment, and the selfless giving of yourself in marriage. Lust is simply that original, beautiful engine hijacked by the enemy, warped into self-gratification, fantasy, and cheap, isolated dopamine hits. When you try to destroy the engine instead of taking back the steering wheel, you are fighting against the fundamental design of your own soul. You cannot fight an appetite by pretending you don't have one. You defeat counterfeit intimacy by pursuing the real thing. In Galatians, Paul lists self-control as a fruit of the Spirit, not self-destruction. Self-control means mastering the wild power within you, harnessing that intense energy and channeling it toward holy purpose, creative ambition, and deep spiritual communion with God. Stop viewing your capacity for passion as a mark of shame. God doesn't want you rendered passive or castrated in spirit. He wants to sanctify your intensity. When you bring that raw, God-given fire back to His altar, He redirects its heat, turning a destructive, solitary wildfire into a steady, life-giving flame that serves His kingdom and brings peace to your soul. Have you ever wondered if God's silence during your darkest struggles is actually a deliberate strategy rather than distance? When you are caught in the agonizing waiting room of deliverance, it is easy to assume that heaven is indifferent to your pain. But the delay is never empty time. It is the vital space where God dismantles your false remedies so you can finally discover what true freedom requires. In Romans, Scripture reveals that suffering and endurance produce proven character, and that character ultimately yields a hope that will never disappoint. God waits not out of cruelty, but because He refuses to give you a cheap, temporary fix that leaves your heart unchanged. If He simply removed the temptation without addressing the deep emotional voids, stress, and isolation driving it, you would instantly replace lust with another idol. He is waiting so you learn to seek the giver rather than just demanding His gifts. True deliverance is not merely the absence of a bad habit. It is the presence of a transformed identity. When God allows you to walk through the fire, He forces you to drop the superficial excuses and build genuine spiritual endurance. He is teaching you how to wield the word, establish real accountability, and heal the silent wounds you have been trying to numb with short-lived pleasure. The waiting period is not a prison sentence. It is the holy ground where your faith becomes unbreakable. God is far more committed to making you holy than simply making you comfortable in the moment. Rest in the assurance that He has not abandoned the work of your hands. He is actively refining you so that when victory comes, it will be rooted in an unshakable foundation of His grace. The battle you are fighting right now is not proof that you are defeated. It is proof that you are still alive and refusing to surrender. Freedom is never found in running away from the struggle or waiting for a magic switch to flip. It begins the very moment you stop hiding in shame, step out of the shadows, and allow God's grace to refine you directly in the middle of the fire. You are not broken beyond repair, and your story does not end in defeat. Now is the time to move from simply surviving temptation to actively walking in complete, daily victory. If you are ready to stop playing defense and finally equip yourself with actionable, scripture-backed strategies to conquer this struggle once and for all, I have laid out the entire roadmap for you. I wrote my ebook, 7 Biblical Secrets to Destroy Lust Before It Destroys You, specifically for this fight. It breaks down the exact practical and spiritual tools you need to break the cycle of secret shame, master your mind, and walk in unshakable freedom every single day. Do not let another day pass caught in the exact same loop. Click the link in the video description or check the pinned comment below to get your copy right now. Step out of the dark, grab the tools, and reclaim the purity, peace, and purpose God has already promised you.